Mr. Secretary, consumer sentiment is dropping. Inflation has ticked up. Major banks like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs now say a recession in the next 12 months is becoming more likely. Should Americans brace for a recession?
Absolutely not. Anybody who bets against Donald Trump, it's like the same people who thought Donald Trump wasn't a winner a year ago. Donald Trump is a winner. He's going to win for the American people. That's just the way it's going to be. There's going to be no recession in America.
Look, I know that you inherited a mess, and you said that the other night.
I've only been here,
but are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time.
Maybe they should talk to each other, get their message kind of locked in, because the Commerce Secretary seemed a little bit more confident than Donald Trump did. He's saying anyone who acknowledges the possibility of a recession doesn't have faith in Donald Trump. And you know that includes Donald Trump, because he's not ruling it out. Which, look, at least is kind of honest on the part of Donald Trump. I guess he's so worried now that he realizes that if he says, like Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary did, that it's definitely not gonna happen, but it is gonna happen, then that looks even worse. So hey, Donald Trump is being a little bit honest there. That's great. Unfortunately, he's not being honest about anything else about the economy or why this is such a needless recession that we are nosediving towards. And so I liked that Maria Bartiromo asked him about the recession. What I don't like is that she said, now I know you inherited a mess. What are you talking about? We weren't, in November, December, it wasn't looking like we were gonna have a recession. Inflation was trending down, jobs were trending up. No, now it looks bad. And Donald Trump has done a ton to produce that outcome with the massive cuts, not only to jobs, but also to government contracts, shutting down for the farmers, all the USAID funding that they normally would have done. I mean, hell, even shutting down some of the funding going to Ukraine, that does affect defense contractors. Not my favorite business or whatever, but that is gonna have some sort of an effect. And obviously the trade war. We're gonna have much less trade. There's boycotts in Canada. All of this has nothing whatsoever to do with Joe Biden. It's on Donald Trump's lap right now. Well, I guess it's on all of our laps because we're stuck with this at least for the next few years. And why are we so worried about this happening? Well, there's a lot of really smart people, arguably smarter than Donald Trump, who've been doing analyses of this. And US consumer confidence has dropped this month the most since August 2021. That's back in the heart of the pandemic. The Atlanta Federal Reserve model has suggested that economic growth might be negative in Q1 2025. That's not what it looked like before. What is the thing that changed, everyone? Think about it for a couple seconds. You might come up with something. And so the reciprocal tariffs and the mass layoffs, all of this is contributing to it. They think that our economic output will decline 2.8% after nearly 3 years of growth. 3 years. That's almost like 4 years. It's almost like a presidential term. It's almost like it matters who's president. Weird how that works. And so we're definitely cruising towards this. And the tariffs are obviously a big part. They increase prices, posing a challenge to efforts to lower interest rates, which Trump is definitely going to push for regardless. And again, it's not up to him as president, but he's gonna push for it. So he's raised prices, that hurts consumer confidence, it lowers spending, it lowers our economic growth here in the United States. That's all, again, on his lap. And then also for our businesses, creates new problems when the reciprocal tariffs come up on our trade partners. They can't get the products they need to produce things like cars and consumer electronics and all of those things. Also construction, a lot of different industries. Also, because of those tariffs, our businesses aren't gonna be able to sell as many products abroad. So they're gonna have to be dialing back their expectations for growth. They're gonna be doing less hiring or perhaps more firing. And so again, none of this is as confusing as a topic like the economy might to someone new to politics or news think that it is. This is all very graspable. Even Donald Trump with a bit of help, I think should be able to figure this out, JR. But what do you think?
Okay. Maybe it needs to be posed in certain ways to point out again how these things actually affect human beings. He's a campaigner. He's not anyone who knows actually how to govern. Because look, You said at least you give them some credit for saying, yeah, it's potentially there's going to be a downgrade, or we're going to have a bit of a recession. When they were running, that's what both he and Elon Musk said. He said, we're going to have to go through some financial pains in the near term in order to get to that good, prosperous terms later. Elon Musk said something to the effect of, they both joked and laughed about how they would fire striking workers. They've never had anything good to actually say about their policies towards people. It's just been a bunch of bluster. Look, you mentioned Howard Lutnick there. He was the guy who was standing next to Donald Trump when he was tossing out stupid red hats because he got some new red hats that said something like, to reporters, that said something like Trump was right about everything. Again, think about all we hear. It's promotion, it's propaganda, and then it's promotion, and then it's propaganda. Howard Lutnick, who's supposed to be the Commerce Secretary, said, as one of the reporters didn't want to take one of those grubby hats, said, you never say no to the president. Well, yes, we already know you're a yes man. So what is your job here? What do you do here? Someone needs to send you an email and ask you 5 questions about what you did this week besides kiss Trump's ass. But that's his position here as the Commerce Secretary, to then say, well, who cares? Things will be great. I don't know what I'm talking about. The way that we're seeing direct incompetence from this group of people who said that they're the best and the brightest and DEI is unneeded. They're putting on full display the reasons why DEI initiatives were needed in the first place. Because idiots like this, who look at someone with a fair enough skin and a straight enough, they call themselves straight enough because many of them are still closeted as well. But many of them call themselves straight white Christians. And that's all you need. That's the qualifications required. And they F things up consistently. So are we going to pay attention to what's actually happening as we potentially go into this recession? Or are we going to continue to listen to guys who told you, as long as you listen to things like Donald Trump is a genius, Elon Musk is a genius, and we're going to destroy the country because we're geniuses? Just put it together for yourselves. And then maybe you can come up with that answer, maybe before it's too late. But I think we've already reached that point.
No, we're not going to do that. Okay, we're just going to continue
so
cruising towards incompetence and a pointless recession. Yeah, again, look, again, I know most people watching this did not vote for Donald Trump, but if you did, you were hurting. So you said, we need something different. He said, you're going to get it. I'm going to fix it on day one. And instantly things are way worse than they were. Not way improved, not even the same, which was so unacceptable that you put a felon back in charge. It's way worse than it was when you chose the felon. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.